Hello there, fellow noobs. It's great to see you again. Come on in and take a seat. Today we're just starting a one-off, possibly, episode about a new game still in development called Rising Thunder. Rising Thunder is a free-to-play fighting game developed solely for the PC, currently, by developer Radiant Entertainment. Radiant Entertainment is an indie developer which boasts an impressive fighting game pedigree. Tom Cannon, one of the co-founders of Radiant Entertainment, is also the founder of the Evo Championship Series tournament. Evo is the largest fighting game tournament in the world. The other co-founder of Radiant Entertainment is Tom's brother, Tony Cannon, who created the middleware GGPO, which stands for Good Game Peace Out. It was designed to help create a near-lagless online experience and is used today in many fighting games, including Skullgirls, the current Killer Instinct, Lethal League, and of course, Rising Thunder. And last but not least in the Radiant Entertainment roster is Seth Killian, who was a longtime fighting game player and who worked at Capcom during Street Fighter 4's development. So they have a pretty good idea of how to design a fighting game. Anyway, Rising Thunder is still in the technical alpha phase, so there are still some bugs and glitches, but I've got to tell you, this is one of the nicest alphas of any game I've ever played. The game runs smoothly, it's clean, it looks great, the fights feel great, input response is incredible. I'm super excited to see what the beta and the finished product look like for this game. I would say that the biggest indication that this is an alpha is the lack of a variety of games. Right now, players would only have access to a trimmed down version of training mode and only ranked matches. And I say a trimmed down version of training mode because really all you can do is change your character, change your character's loadout, change which fighter you're gonna fight against, but there is no enemy AI yet. There are no controls for the enemy so that you could practice against, you know, a jumping enemy, or you could just practice against like the highest difficulty AI. There's nothing in there yet for the training, so that's a little upsetting, but that I'm sure is going to be fixed later on, because pretty much there isn't a fighting game out there now that doesn't have a robust training system. Anywho, what is the big deal about Rising Thunder? Well, it's a fighting game that is trying to reduce the steep learning curve that is prevalent in most other fighting games. So rather than requiring complex inputs to perform special moves, and the ubiquitous example being the quarter circle forward and punch to make a fireball, all special moves are handled with a single button press. The idea being that most players, myself absolutely included, don't get past the first layer of a fighting game, which is being able to do all of the moves, and therefore aren't able to fully experience the second, arguably the more important layer of the game, the strategy in the fights themselves. In Rising Thunder, it's not about whether you can perform a half circle forward then back and a 2 attack buttons at the right time to perform a special move or to perform a great ender to whatever combo you're doing. It's about knowing whether you should hit that fireball button, or you should hit your flash kick button, or you should, you know, air dash away, double back away. Sure, there are still combos to perform to maximize your damage in this game, but these combos consist of much simpler inputs. Now it's more like standing heavy attack canceled into your alpha button, whatever that happens to be, instead of standing heavy canceled into half circle forward light attack. Am I great at combos in any fighting game? Certainly not any of the complex ones that you'll see pros using. I can do some of the simpler 3, 4, maybe 5, heck, even maybe up to 10 hit combos. But thanks to this concentrated and focused input system and enough practice, I think I could actually become pretty good with the combos in Rising Thunder, and for someone like me, that's an awesome idea. That's an awesome feeling. Rising Thunder currently features 6 characters, or in this game they are mechs, each with their own unique playstyle. The game provides a brief character breakdown, including what type of fighter they are. Are they a grappler? Are they a mix-up fighter? Are they a gunner, which is more like a keep-away character, etc. How difficult are they to learn? You know, right now there's just easy, medium, and hard difficulty. Their attributes, which is over on that map to the right. And then there's skills, or in this game they're called the loadout. Each character has a unique loadout, and some elements of each loadout can be changed. This is what the developers refer to as the variant system, which is why they have you playing as a mech. The idea being that mechs can have their parts swapped out for particular situations, and a really cool feature, players are allowed to actually change their loadouts in between games without disrupting the match, which I think is incredible. Going back to the streamlined input system, every character has the same amount of specials. 3 regular specials and 1 super, or ultra, or whatever you want to call it. This game calls them overdrive. Each character also has access to either kinetic deflect or kinetic advance. The kinetic deflect works like a burst or combo breaker from like other games like Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, or Killer Instinct, and it will interrupt an opponent's combo and or nullify the damage from whatever the last hit taken while you're in that deflect state. The kinetic advance works like a rapid cancel from like some anime fighters, which grants access to more and or bigger combos. And again, back to anime fighters, in many fighting games, players have access to both, like a burst and that whole rapid cancel. Yes, they would both take a couple different kinds of meter. In this game, kinetic deflect or kinetic advance each just work off of the kinetic meter, which is at the bottom of the screen next to your abilities. But in Rising Thunder, players only have access to one or the other, which is why I kind of highlighted the whole either thing earlier on. So there's actually a lot of thought that goes into the selection of your loadout before going into a match. I prefer to use kinetic advance because I'm a masochist. Also, I rarely ever use kinetic deflect, and it's much better for me if I randomly happen to perform a kinetic advance. It just works out a whole lot better, because then I can usually get a bit of a longer combo and it surprises the hell out of me. Each mech has a unique loadout and can swap out only so many of their specials at this time. Some characters can swap out only like one special, like Crow, while others can swap out a couple more, like Shell. Each special comes with their own particular use and playstyle. So for my taste, I've been playing Crow and utilizing Soul Cleaver more than Core Puncture, primarily because Soul Cleaver causes a wall bounce, so I can get just a little more damage on my opponents until I become a little bit better with combos. And because the forums have recommended using Soul Cleaver over Core Puncture because Core Puncture isn't an overhead despite looking like one, and overheads would be really handy to have for Crow. Which I think right now he's only got like one, if any. And that you could do from a standing position rather than having to jump. Anywho, each ranked match is a best of 3 games, with each game being a best of 3 rounds. So it plays like most fighting game tournaments do. This format allows players a chance to figure out their opponent and employ a winning strategy in the second and third games. Thanks to the ability to change your loadout between games, Rising Thunder adds another layer of adaptability to players' arsenals when in a match. It's actually like another mini game. It's a mind game, mini mind game, because character matchups are a huge part of any fighting game, since you go into a ranked match not knowing who your opponent will be prior to choosing your loadout. You may actually be set up for a losing matchup in your first game, but you can fix that with your loadout for games 2 and 3. Of course, the same goes for your opponent, and so they could be on their side set up for a losing matchup in the first game and then adapt for games 2 and 3. This is where I find that the forum research and paying attention to your opponent's patterns and playstyle becomes integral to winning a match. Now, there are player levels and character levels. At the moment, those don't seem to do anything crazy. I know that in Killer Instinct, character level unlocks more visual changes for said character, and that might be the path Rising Thunder is taking. At least that's what I hope. Okay, I love playing dress up. Something that's kind of crazy about the way this game has been designed is that I'm playing this on my keyboard. Yeah, and it feels natural, which is also very weird to say. The WAS and WASD keys are your movement inputs. UIO, that's IOU, just in a different order, are your specials. JKL, now again, these are the default controls. JKL are your light, medium, and heavy attacks, and semicolon is your throw button. Spacebar is your overdrive button, or super, ultra, however you want to call it. Prior to Rising Thunder, every fighting game I've played was on a console with a controller, so initially it felt kind of weird using just the keyboard, but after a few minutes of playing around and training, it feels perfectly normal because, again, you don't have to do a quarter circle or a half circle or anything. It's all, oh, do I hold forward and medium attack? Do I hold forward and my alpha button? You know, that's essentially the extent of your complex inputs. It's forward and a button, or down and a button, or up and a button, or back and a button. So on a keyboard, it actually works, because you're not trying to circle or swing around with a joystick or anything. It's just button presses, which I think is fantastic. Another reason why I signed up for the alpha when this was announced at Evo 2015 this year. So I would recommend Rising Thunder to all of you, whether you're into fighting games or not. Like, this is a slight promotional video, slight just testing the waters video as well. Like I had mentioned earlier on, you know, this is possibly a one-off, but I mean, if you all, you know, show enough interest in wanting to see more footage of this game, more ranked matches, more of me getting my butt kicked, you know, I may turn this into a series of just, you know, playing Rising Thunder and having a good time with it. Anywho, I think the control scheme and the input system is so intuitive that whether you're a fan of fighting games or not, you'll have a blast with this game. It's also, I mean, the aesthetic is fighting robots, and who doesn't love to play as a fighting robot? I mean, if you don't, that's cool. I'm not judging or anything. Just highlighting that I love the idea. I will also admit that I have gotten plenty salty, plenty very upset with some of the matches I've had. But I always, despite that, I always want to play one more. Matches are fast and responsive, and after a big win or even a bad loss, I always want to go back and try again. I always want to get back in there. You know, every match, after every match, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better. Even if I didn't win the previous match, I ended up learning, you know, a lot about what to do for the next time I have that matchup. Originally, I was hoping to get this video out a while ago, back when it would have mattered that I had a couple of codes to give away, but that didn't happen. So, if you want to start playing, I would say just go to risingthunder.com and sign up. The full game will be free to play, not just the technical alpha, but the technical alpha is now open to everyone who creates an account with Rising Thunder. So if you do sign up or are already playing, I'd love to know in the comments below. Maybe we'll run into each other, which I think would be pretty cool. And as you can see, my name on Rising Thunder is just Perpetual_Noob, so you'll know it when you see me. As I mentioned earlier, this Rising Thunder video is currently just a one-shot, but if enough of you show a little bit of interest, either by hitting the thumbs up button or by leaving a positive comment in the comment section, I'll start a series of Rising Thunder videos where we'll just hang out, play ranked matches, and and talk and watch as this really cool concept of a fighting game goes from an alpha to a fully armed and operational battle station. Or no, wait, I mean full-fledged game. That's what I meant. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I've had a great time, and I hope you have too. And if you have, please do hit that thumbs up button. It really does help our noob community grow. And if you want to keep up to date with all the great content coming up and are not currently a member of the noob community, I do hope you consider hitting that subscribe button. We'd love to have you here. I am the Perpetual Noob, and I hope to see you all next time.